fades into the right. I'm just losing the word for what that means. But I don't like that. And that's on this mix a lot, especially during the medley, which I'll talk about. And that's what I don't like about the 2009 Masters, is that if you listen to it with one headphone, you don't get the whole experience. And I know you guys will say, oh, well, go put it on mono in your settings, but that's not what the Beatles wanted. If they want, because that messes with the volume and the tone and where everything is. I want to listen to it how the Beatles intended. And I know Giles is doing a really good job in that. I don't like the panning. That's the word I lost. It's still nice, though. Once you get past the instruments and you hear the a cappella harmonizing vocals, you appreciate it a whole lot more. And you can hear everybody in this mix, which is really cool. And the bass comes out a lot more, which, we can all appreciate. The drums in You Never Give Me Your Money. One of my favorite songs off of Abbey Road. Between this and Oh Darling would be the biggest competition. The instrumentation is done really, really well, but on the digital version, the vocal track still feels very gone and away from the mix until the breakdown in the Any Job, I've Got the Sack, which, fun fact, one thing that I love about doing this podcast is that I guess I just hear their lyrics differently. I thought it was, quote, any jobber has the sack. The line is, any job, question mark, I've got the sack. I'll listen to this differently from here on out. I don't know why. I'm so stupid and cannot, realize what they're saying when they say it. The instrumentation is really well done. It's in your face. It also was on the CD. Literally, you guys are not hearing this mix. Obviously, I haven't messed around with Tidal or Amazon Music HD, which I want to. I really do. But the CD is where it's at with these mixes. You need these. Even the LP, I don't think, can give this strong of a performance. You guys need the CD. Sun King, another song that I only listening to Abbey Road all the way through, but I will listen to it a lot more now, and I'm going to say that a lot. I sound like I'm repeating myself quite a bit. But the cricket chirping that I didn't even notice on the 2009 mix sounds great here. A lot more harmonies are heard under John's Everybody's Laughing, and a lot more instrumentation, I feel, is being brought up, which is cool. I always love these mixes and how they're expanded upon. The left channel feels a lot heavier than the right channel. In the digital, which is something that I wrote down and still agree with, it just feels like, maybe that's my headphones, but I just feel like there's a lot more weight in the left channel than the right. Maybe that's just me. Who knows? But, oh my God, this is the transition from this to Mean Mr. Mustard. Amazing. Mean Mr. Mustard, which you guys will call me out on this, but it's true. Mean Mr. Mustard is the first song that I loved from Abbey Road. I don't even love it that much now, but when I was first getting into the Beatles, I clicked on the Beatles radio on Amazon Prime Music, and Mean Mr. Mustard came on, and I really liked it. I still really like it. It's top notch. It fades into the right channel and picks up in the middle, which is nice. Paul's backing is heard a lot more, which I didn't even know Paul was backing on this song, but he is, and it sounds fantastic. It really does, and thanks to Because the Beatles, again, this is the last time I'll name drop y'all, I promise, but they actually pointed out something that I didn't know, and apparently a lot of people know this. I didn't. A line in Mean Mr. Mustard, his sister Pam works in the shop, is Polythene Pam. What? I had no idea, but that kind of leads us into the next track, Polythene Pam. Very nice sounding, but an outtake that I'll talk about later, which I kid you not is called The Long One, which is a demo mix of the medley with Her Majesty where it was originally supposed to be. You can hear studio chatter in John when it leads up to she came in through the bathroom window. You get that anticipation, oh, here she comes, do, which I would play, but I don't want to get sued. And it's kind of buried in this mix and the 2009 mix, but on the long one, you can really hear, I hate having to say the long one, this is literally what they try to do to us journalists trying to report on their songs. But the vocal seems kind of buried in the 2009 mix. But the long one, you guys really need to listen to it, if not just for the Polythene Pam vocal take, because I'm pretty sure it's the same vocal take, it's just mixed differently. Nothing really new, besides the panning of a few instruments, which again threw me off. Giles, why? But if you were listening to it in like Dolby Atmos, I guess that'd be cool. And I guess that's really what we're lacking here, is that this is mixed for Dolby Atmos and we don't have it because we're broke, and that only the rich people can enjoy Abbey Road and we can't. Kidding, obviously. A few more harmonies can be heard in another one of my favorite songs. I'm sorry I keep saying that, but I love this album so much. And She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, which I love. My favorite song off the medley? I guess You Never Give Me Your Money. I'm going to have a breakdown right here on the podcast trying to figure out what my favorite song from the medley is. It's between these two. It's nice. I mean, it still sounds relatively the same. There's so much anticipation and excitement by this point in the medley, and I could still feel it in the physical version. You just feel almost worn out at this point, but in a good way. You're like, keep it coming, keep it coming. I love the lyrics in this. And to hear more harmonies is nice. The harmonies are really expanded upon in almost every track off of this album, which I love to hear. I love to hear more from my favorite band and the best band to ever exist. Go Dance Lumbers time. The piano is on the right channel and Paul's vocal is to the left. Why? Why not just put them in the center like a normal human being, Giles? Literally, if I'm listening to this with the left, I'll only hear Paul's vocal, and if I'm listening to it with just the right, I'll only hear the piano. Giles, the general audience is not gonna have a Dolby Atmos system. Which, I mean, it still sounds really good, don't get me wrong, that's just gonna mess with me forever. It's just not necessary. I don't hear a lot done with the vocal quality, which literally a praise that I'll give every song on this is the vocal quality is very much expanded upon and sounds a lot better, but I didn't really get that with Golden Slumbers. I feel like it sounds about the same, but I mean, I know it's there. You know, I'm not trying to say they didn't work on it, but, you know, I don't really get that off of a listen. Like maybe I should. But the next song, Ringo on vocal for Carry That Weight. It feels a lot more expanded, and Uplifted is a song that I wrote down for that. Uplifted. It feels like there's a lot more there. Ringo's vocal sounds chef's kiss amazing. And the You Never Give Me Your Money section almost sounds vocally better than the mix of the entire song. Maybe that's biasness, maybe it is, but I really did like it. I absolutely love the physical version. Beautiful, a lot better than the Apple Music version, and I definitely suggest you guys check it out. The end hits hard. It hit me right in the heart listening to it on physical for the first time, because my physical turns up a lot louder than Apple Music. Apple Music, I didn't really get the same kick, but oh my god, the end is nothing on Apple Music compared to what it felt like on this physical. It just hits you, and not even the love you harmonies. It's more of the drums, which, I mean, I know this is kind of Ringo's deal here with the end, but geez, he really went ham on that, and I really think that this is probably Ringo's best performance on any Beatles song. If I had to guess. The Oh Yeah vocal from Paul, it hits like a ton of bricks. In a good way. That almost sounds negative. But it's not, let me tell you. It sounds absolutely beautiful. And then, you know, you get the bow, and then Her Majesty. Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl, but she doesn't have a lot to say. Didn't love this. It's clever. It's okay. But Giles mixed it to where it almost sounds like an 8D audio YouTube video, where, you know, you've got the vocal and the guitar, and it kind of soars around the headphones. It comes in one channel and leaves through the other. Clever. I like it, but unnecessary is basically just what I think. Unnecessary panning that just doesn't need to exist, and I just keep it closer to the 2009 remaster. So yeah, that ends Abbey Road. We'll talk about more of the outtakes in a second. But I know that I'm kind of being negative. I feel, doing this again, I feel like I'm kind of being negative, and I don't mean to be. I love this album, but I would rank it below Sgt. Pepper and the White Album when it comes to just the remaster and the remix. I didn't love this one as much as I did. I love the White Album mix. I thought it was great. And Sgt. Pepper just blew my mind. But Abbey Road just didn't hit the same way. Though there are a lot of improvements that I love and will cherish. And I thank Giles and his team for working on this. It sounds great. But some songs I would rather have the 2009 version. And so when I listen to Abbey Road, for fun, I will probably do a mixture of the 2009 and 2019 mixes for the ones that I love better. For example, the original Come Together in 2009 with the original ad-libs on the end, I'll probably listen to a lot more. But something like a 2019 mix of Octopus's Garden, I would listen. I'd find myself listening to a lot more. But let's get into some of those outtakes, which are the highlight of all of these remasters and reissues for me. It opens with a Trident mix of I Want You, She's So Heavy, which has hilarious vocal chatter between George Martin and John Lennon, where I'm guessing they're recording a bunch of takes in a row, and somebody complains from outside of Abbey Road that they're being too loud, and John says, I guess this is my last chance to be loud, and they just bang it out on this one. Basically the highlight of this track is that vocal chatter. The take is nothing too special for me. And then, other than that, you get Paul McCartney's demo of a song called Goodbye, which he actually gave to Mary Hopkin to record and never officially recorded it himself. I've heard this a lot on bootlegs and on YouTube. And though some of those mixes, fan-made mixes, sound better in vocal quality, and not vocal quality, but just overall quality than this one does. Which is kind of disappointing. I mean, I didn't expect a lot. I'm glad it officially has a release. But, I love Mary Hopkins' version. I also love Paul's, obviously. But I won't see myself listening to this song too much. It's kind of just something that's cool to have. But also, we have take 7 of the Ballad of John and Yoko, which is interesting to hear it without Paul. Paul's there. Paul's in the studio. You hear him studio chatter for a little bit, but you never really, hear him vocally. Never really, you don't at all. And you hear more of an acoustic version of the song, which is nice to hear. And John at the end celebrates, which I don't really want to spoil it, but it's been a week. I'm sure you guys have heard it. And he says, it's worth it for that, and gets really excited, and it's really cool. And it just, I don't know. I don't really love the Ballad of John and Yoko, but this one just made me smile. There's a lot more guitar on Octopus's Garden, take 9, which, there's a big uproar in the Beatles community about who's laughing on Octopus's Garden, take 9. I'm Team Ringo. I think Ringo's laughing. I don't think I can hear anybody else but Ringo laughing on this take. But George's guitar, A+. I like it, and I wish they would have kept it in the original take. Maxwell's Silver Hammer, take 12 of 145,000, is funny, and I kind of laughed more just thinking that Paul's alone in the studio because nobody wants to be around him at this point in time. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, they were around him. Because at the end, he forgets the lyrics and just, ad-libs, and it sounds like some sort of auto-tuned, rapper, something like that. And then he ends and he's talking to somebody and he's like, oh, well, I really did like that one, but I just wish we could do it again and get the good bits, and the bad bits. And then George says, and the bad bits, just talking about how bad it is, which, I don't love it, but it's really funny to see them having some fun. And then that makes Paul laugh, and it's just a nice thing. But then Ringo chimes in. For some weird reason, if you haven't heard this yet and I'm spoiling it, I'm sorry. Ringo says, George Harrison is now resting his arm. And Paul says, let the people know that George Harrison is resting his arm. Which is nice to know that they just recorded that and didn't expect anybody else to hear it. And here we are in 2019 hearing it. And I love that. After that, you get a brand new Paul song that I had not heard before. And I'm sure I probably could have, but for some reason I never heard it. Called Come and Get It. Which... not a great song for this era of Paul. Really does feel like a Wings song. Very much like a Wings song. A lot more than a Beatles song. I could never hear this being recorded by the Beatles, but I'm pretty sure Paul gave this to Badfinger. I can confirm that. to each their own. I mean, this doesn't really suit Paul well in this era. But if he would have held on to it for another 5 years and done it with Wings for maybe something like Red Rose Speedway, which would have been 3 years after